Esther Coley Tucker was a mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, confidant, and friend. She was my maternal grandmother, but she fulfilled the role of mother to me. Think about your own mom. Maybe you have a close relationship with her. Maybe you don't. Maybe there's someone else in your life who fulfills that role. For me, it was my grandma. Born on May 22nd, 1942, Esther Coley Tucker was the third daughter of 8 children. She was raised during the Depression and her family was very poor. She got married at the age of 14 and she had her first child 9 months later. She had one child every year for the next 6 years. That's 6 children by the time she was 19. I have 2 children at 26, and there are times when they're almost too much for me to handle. I cannot imagine having 6 children at 19. She would work all day long in cotton mills or sewing mills and come home to cook, clean, and care for her 6 children with no help from her abusive husband. Her youngest daughter was in an accident at age 6. She ran across the street to play with the neighbors and was hit and struck by a car. She was in a coma for 6 months and had multiple broken bones, which required a full body cast. She had irreversible brain damage that left her physically and mentally disabled. She wanted her daughter to have as normal a life as possible. She let her go to school, work in a workshop, and get married. Her mentally disabled daughter got pregnant and had a child. I am that child. My disabled mother is unable to read, write, or drive a car. She cannot cook a meal, tell time, nor manage a household, much less raise a child. That's where my grandma stepped in. She did not try to take my mother's place, only mothered me in a way she knew my own mother couldn't. She cooked me supper, helped me with homework, bought me school clothes, and helped my father raise me. She was the closest thing I had to a real mom. When I was 17, I got pregnant. The first thing she told me was that just because I was pregnant, I did not have to get married. I had been prepared to marry the father of my child, but that would have been a big mistake. She helped me see that just because I made one mistake, I did not have to make another. She taught me almost everything I know about life, love, and people. She was the smartest person I ever knew. She was very wise. Through her advice and guidance, I became a successful, independent adult. I moved out at the age of 18 and rented a trailer for me and my unborn child. She helped me raise my daughter while I finished college and got my associate's degree in criminal justice. Years later, I got married and had a second child. She was there to help also with the second child. When one of my kids had a fever, I would call her before I would call the doctor. She would offer me advice and reassurance and tell me how to care for them. When I got into a fight with my husband, I would call her and she would reassure me that everything was going to be alright in the end. When I was cooking supper and wasn't quite sure how I had messed up or what I needed to do to fix it, I called her. This happened a lot the first year of my marriage. I saw her almost every day, at least 4 or 5 days a week. I've moved twice in my life, and each time I moved, I didn't move more than 5 minutes away from her. I stayed in the same city limits in which she lived so that I could be close. No more than a phone call away. In May of 2010, the weekend before Mother's Day, at the age of 69, she had a massive heart attack. The doctors wanted to do open heart surgery, but they had found some spots in her lungs they believed to be cancer. She successfully had had cancer removed from her throat several years prior, and they believed the cancer had come back in her lungs. We would talk about it, and she would say, "I'm not going to live forever, you know," but I didn't want to believe her. She had lost 2 brothers and 1 sister to cancer. When she discussed cancer, she said, "I'm no better than anyone else not to get it. I'll probably get it too." When we got the news that she had spots on her lungs the doctors thought was cancer, her reply was to sing the song, "Let It Be." She lived a year and 2 months after her diagnosis of lung cancer and heart disease. I had the privilege of caring for her for the last 2 months of her life. I watched her small, feeble body succumb to cancer and heart disease on July 22nd of 2011. I was holding her hand as she took her final breath and made her departure from this world into heaven's pearly gates. It was just 5 months ago, but it seems like forever since I've heard her voice or seen her face. I long to pick up the phone and call her and pour out my troubles. I long to go to her house and sit on her couch and hold her small hand in mine and tell her how much I love her. I don't know where, who, or what I would be today if it had not been for my grandma. And I don't know what I'm going to do without her. I love her, and I miss her dearly. May she rest in peace.